Relay FM. This is Connected, episode 164. Today's show is brought to you by Squarespace, Timing, and Encapsula. My name is Mike Hurley. I am joined by Mr. Federico Viticci.
Hello, Michael.
And Mrs. Stephen Hackett.
We're all together.
So I should probably say, hello, everybody. So we're in Chicago at the Release Notes conference, and we're recording live together. And as I was introducing everybody, so as we're sitting down today, we're all sitting down at a table right now, and I have a mental image in my mind of where Federico and Stephen sit at all times, strange. Which I've only just realized today. And then they wouldn't sit that way, so they sit the other direction. So when I was about to introduce Federico, I pointed at Stephen.
I thought it was a fake out.
Nope. And then I had to point right the way back again because you're in the wrong places. You're in the wrong places. But yeah, we are in Chicago. We've had a great few days. We went to the movies together and we saw Blade Runner.
We did.
That was nice. In an IMAX screens are huge.
It's incredible.
Yeah. They're so big and it's really loud, but that was nice. And we've got the Release Notes conference coming up. We went to Field Notes together. It was really nice.
It's been a lovely weekend together.
Yeah, it has been. But we have
work to do.
Follow up.
Oh, I missed my cue.
Follow up.
Follow up. I can't go that deep. Follow up. So we're going to start with emergency bypass. Last week, or like 2 days ago when we recorded the show last time, we talking about this feature in iOS 11 where you can have a contact do something with Do Not Disturb. I don't know. Kyle said it was new, but Kyle was wrong. This is really the follow-up, is that Kyle was wrong.
Yep.
Casey that can't be a real name. Casey Liss.
It's a K and then a C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
K period C period
Liss.
Liss. Wrote about this in 2016 and was personally offended that I didn't remember.
Yep.
Sorry, Casey.
He was really upset.
It's like you don't read my blog, he says, and then sends a link to us in our Slack, which we then have to talk about on the show. So he'll be vindicated about the fact that we've now read his blog.
Yeah. He wrote it on CMS. He's very proud of it.
Yeah, he should be.
We had some follow-up on the Pixel Buds. So the Google event, they had this really, I thought, a very pretty cool demo where they had their earbuds and someone was talking into the phone and they heard it in their language and they talked in their language and it came out in English.
Through the speakers of the phone back to the other person, so you could just have this conversation.
Very complicated, but cool. And we got a couple pieces of feedback saying that can't iOS do this with the Google apps? And so we tried it because
and AirPods.
Turns out we know somebody who speaks another language besides just English.
I'm learning Romanian, that's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that's actually how we did test it, was I said some Romanian things. That is actually true, the way that we did it, even though we have Federico in the room. Because me and Federico,
I didn't want to do it.
Me and Stephen wanted to put this in the document. Me and Federico, we felt adequately troubleshooted. Trouble shouted.
Troubleshot.
Is that it? Trebuchet. Yeah. And so we felt like we knew what would happen is that if you had the AirPods in, it would only ever play the audio through the AirPods, so it's never going to play out the speaker to the other person. Stephen was unhappy about the fact
we have to be thorough.
We had not correctly troubleshooted it, so we then tested it, and it wouldn't work. So what would happen is if you had the AirPods in, and you're having somebody speak to you, you would hear the audio, but then when you did the translation the other way, you still hear the audio.
There's a solution to this. You share AirPods. You just take the AirPods. I would
gross.
never do it because it's disgusting. But you take your AirPods.
They get really disgusting.
And you put it in their ear.
Like everything is wrong. The
and
case is full of lint.
Now we're communicating.
Like AirPods are brilliant, but they are horrible.
Your ear is
things.
very soft.
Please don't touch it.
Why is it so sweaty?
I've got a jacket on, and there's a lot of people here. And
this would be cool though, and it seems like something. I mean, the obviously Google is doing special stuff with the audio routing to make this work, and they're not gonna let Google do that. But like Siri should be able to do something. Like this would be a great feature for iOS to have.
Siri could do that. They could do that exact thing.
Because it's so. I mean, I can just picture so many times it'd be useful. So, anyways, so Google can't do it on iOS, but so we tested it, so you don't have to worry. I made sure that we did our jobs correctly.
Troubleshoot.
We did want to briefly mention our friends at App Camp. They have an Indiegogo page up right now. It's called App Camp 2020. They are trying to expand into 3 more cities, and we just can't say enough great things about App Camp. I know they're so close to the heart of the community that we're a part of, the Apple community. There'll be a link in the show notes. If you haven't read about this project, it's incredible.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you, first of all? 512 Pixels isn't your homepage. I linked to it days ago.
Yep, you did. That's where I got the link for the show notes.
Someone reads it. So go check it out. Send some money their way.
Yep.
It's just a great way to
and
be
there's
involved.
Stuff, there's perks. It's like it's a regular crowdfunding campaign. There's
If
things
you give
can get.
enough, Gene will tattoo the App Camp logo on your body directly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of money you have to give, but she probably would do it if you asked nicely enough.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Homemade tattoo is not a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Now we have an audience with us today.
Oh,
so I would
we need to ask a question.
I would like to see if we can get some audience participation for this next question and follow up.
Oh no.
So audience, does Google Docs have drag and drop? No. Everyone's shaking their heads. Everyone's really upset.
We can't hear the upsetness unless you say it. Let's try it again.
Yeah. Audience, does Google Docs have drag and drop? No. There you go.
Nope.
Thank you, Alan.
That felt good.
I heard just Alan Pike
really
in my
loud.
ear. I have some very special follow-up.
Oh.
Steven's laptop is broken. The iKey fell off.
I should have brought it with me. It's on top of my dresser in my Airbnb so I don't lose it.
So Steven's keyboard just emits this little light now.
Yeah.
You can show it to everybody.
Look how,
There is no iKey on the laptop
On
anymore.
the laptop.
Steven, it's just beautiful. I can tell you, as someone who's used a broken MacBook Air for 3 years, that is just perfect.
It's wonderful. Do you know what doesn't break? Smart keyboards don't break. There's a lovely fabric, and it keeps the keys on.
It's kind of
And it doesn't make a horrible noise, and the keys don't get stuck.
I've learned that I hit the I key in the corner, apparently, because it works if I press the center of it really hard. And so all of our texts this weekend, if I've been on my computer, like I wrote an article yesterday morning, and there were no I's in it. I rewrote a sentence to avoid saying the word I.
The letter I.
The letter I.
letter.
Oh, it was that. Okay,
It's a letter and a word.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Style Guide.
So here's the thing. I'm fed up with this laptop.
Yep.
So I have a little bit of an announcement to make live on the show.
iPad.
No, but I do have another computer that I'm going to use tonight.
What
Done
is
with
going
this.
on here?
Oh no, I didn't know he died.
Did you know about
What?
this?
No,
Did you
I
know
have no
about this?
idea. What's he doing?
What is it?
Steven's
Oh, no.
rustling
What's
around
going
in
on
a
here?
bag right now for the audio.
Is
He's
this
taking
unscripted?
way too long to get this done.
Charger?
Okay, so this is a iBook G3.
It is a Blueberry clamshell iBook G3.
He's legit like getting a power cord for this now because I expect it won't last more than 20 minutes.
It won't.
Does Google Docs work on that?
I have a text file of the Google Doc saved on the desktop already.
Amazing.
That's why
Wow.
you did that.
That's well,
I get it. Because earlier he was like, oh, just for safety reasons, in case we lose all internet connection, I'm going to save a text file of our
that's
show
when I
notes.
walked in and I
That's
saw
why
a
he
USB
did that.
key into his computer.
Garbage
That's
MacBook
And I
Pro
thought
He
gone.
someone
did
just walked in and
that.
is hacking Steven. Because
I
saw someone.
cannot believe you're doing this.
So I went through airport security with 2 laptops in my bag. You're not supposed to do that.
That's barely a
they,
laptop,
They
though.
pulled it out and they were like, "What fresh hell is this?" Anyways, it's to answer. I know there's a lot of burning questions about this. Let me give you some specs of my new laptop. You can't stop me.
These show notes look so bad on this, like so bad.
Is-
What font is that?
I don't know. 300 megahertz PowerPC G3.
Woo.
That's enough.
576 megabytes of RAM because I have 5 of these. I pulled RAM out of another one to upgrade this one.
Nice.
And
What is wrong with you?
please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel to find out. And it's running macOS 10.2.8.
It makes so much noise when you click it.
Yeah, it does. I was going to bring the orange one because it looks cooler, but the hard drive failed when I was installing OS 10 on it. So I brought this one. So now I have to scroll to where we are.
I legit we had no idea
No, no,
he
no.
even had this with
I was
him.
really afraid you're going to pick up my backpack and ask why it weighed 14 pounds.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to go now.
All right, so let's
feel
take
better.
should we take our first break so we can all calm down a little bit from this? Today's show is brought to you by Squarespace. Use the offer code WORLD at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Make your next move with Squarespace. They let you easily create the website that you have for your next idea. And with the ability to grab a unique domain name, award-winning templates, and so much more, they are the all-in-one platform that will let you do whatever it is you want to do online. Whether you want to create an online store, a portfolio, or a blog dedicated to Steven's super weird Mac laptop choices. There's nothing to install, no patches to worry about, no upgrades needed, and they have award-winning 24/7 customer support if you need any help. I use Squarespace all the time. I use it for a wedding site that I just put together. We use it at Squarespace. We use Squarespace at Relay FM. We don't work at Squarespace. We use Squarespace at Relay FM.
Our store and
for
our blog.
Our store and our blog. And we love them because they do great stuff. You can sign up today for a free trial just by going to squarespace.com. No credit card required. And you can sign up for a plan starting at just $12 a month and use the offer code WORLD at checkout, and you will get 10% off your first purchase and show your support for this show. Our thanks to Squarespace. Make your next move. Make your next website.
A little update.
Mm-hmm.
My laptop also has a handle, so you can
that's
move
good.
it around.
That's really good. In case you need to get up, go to the back of the room at any point. We can do that now. Oh, Google Home Mini.
So let's get into this a little
Google
bit.
Home Mini.
And I see bullet points in your iPad that weren't here when I copied the text. Oh no!
So I'll take care
So
of this
what
one.
happened?
So I think we spoke pretty well about this product last week. The Google Home Mini, aside from it having that weird fabric covering that all these products seem to have now.
We got some follow up on that. Most speakers have cloth over the speaker part.
Right, but these aren't just speakers though. Like they're not.
It's fine.
Whatever. Like whatever. Everything's getting this cloth now. Anyway, Artem Rusakovsky of Android Police was writing a review of the Google Home Mini, which is the little puck thing that they have now, and realized that it was recording constantly.
Not great, Bob.
It's fine.
Not good.
Google recognized there was an issue with the sensor that they have on the top. So you have the sensors and you compress it to talk into it or to turn the volume up and down. And they said they would issue a software patch to fix this problem. Then a few days later, they said, actually, we need to disable that sensor permanently. So if you have one of these now, you cannot operate the sensors. And I love my favorite part of the press comment that Google gave. It's like, but everybody loves to just do it with their voice anyway. Then why did you ever include the button? Right? Like if nobody ever uses it, why is it there? So if you have one of these, you now cannot control the anything with hardware except you can mute it on the back. That's the only thing that still works. There is no word on whether this feature will ever return, and Google is just saying to use your voice.
Because it's a hardware problem creating the worst software problem imaginable on a voice assistant.
Yeah. I assume they tried to tweak it, right? Like there's maybe some sensitivity stuff they could do, maybe some firmware stuff.
Maybe you get an X-Acto knife and cut the cloth away and it would work. Maybe that'll be the fix.
Maybe they'll just post everybody out.
It's an actual, you make an actual patch as the patch.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's real good.
I know.
That's really good. That's, considering you didn't have these notes, you didn't write that in advance.
No.
Very proud of you right now.
I'm literally here all week, though.
So I think that, like... Stop laughing at him. So I think that, like, what Google have done is fine. Like, whatever. Like,
their response was appropriate.
Their response was appropriate. I really wish it wasn't Google, though. Because, like, if anything like this happens to Google, everyone's just like, Google wants to listen to everything you have to say, right? Like, it's any other company, it would have been fine. But, like, Google, why? Like, you know how people feel about you. Like, it really frustrates me. They did say they've ensured they deleted all of the audio from the captured by the defective models, but then I'm still like, but did you though? Right? It's like, even now I'm like, but did you know? Just looks so bad.
And I think it's important to note, too, it's believed that the vast majority, if not all of the models affected, were given to press beforehand. So if you go out and buy one, and
but they've been giving them away. Like,
they come in,
like in New York and stuff, and a bunch of places set up these like pop-up shops in donut shops. And
that's
like you
brilliant.
would go in and you
they
would
just
get
throw
a
them
ticket, and they would even and it was like a lucky dip type thing. You would either get a donut or a Google Home Mini.
What if you were really hungry and you were sad?
You got to eat the Google Home. So yeah,
but it's going to run a software update if you buy one, and you're going to be fine. But yes, it's the worst thing that could happen.
To buy a thing and then have all the buttons disabled before
that is
it even
a bummer.
arrives to you.
I mean, that's how I feel about my MacBook Pro.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
So,
hang on, I got to scroll down if we're moving on. Give me a minute. I'm ready.
Oh, does this not? I guess this doesn't have any way to for you to swipe on the trackpad, right?
You have to click the...
Do you have multi-touch on that?
No.
No?
Trackpad's super small.
It is super small. The keyboard's really good, though. No keys have fallen off. And this came out in 1999. Has 100% of the keys. MacBook Pro 2016. Some of them. All right, I'm done. I'm done making fun of the MacBook Pro. Let's talk about something called drag and drop and an app called Bear. I don't know anything about any of these things.
So there's this new update to Bear, the note-taking app for iOS.
Is it like Evernote?
Huh?
Is it like Evernote?
Well,
Except no work chat.
Oh man, I need that.
There's a bear instead of an elephant. It's basically the same
It's
thing.
all
That's pretty
animals.
good.
Why is
That's
it all
good.
animals?
I don't know. They have long memory.
If Apple Notes was going to be an animal, what would it be? It's yellow. That rules it down. That narrows it down. Maybe a giraffe.
Maybe giraffe. Yeah,
Because it's kind of yellow and got some brown in
or
there.
A lion. Could be a lion.
A lion.
Lion's good.
Anyway.
No, let's keep talking about yellow animals.
No, it's fine.
Canaries are yellow.
Yeah.
Chicks, like little baby
Baby
chicks.
chick. Oh,
This
baby
is,
chickens
Little
are
baby
adorable.
chicks a good one.
Yeah.
Well,
What was that one? Yeah, canaries
yeah.
are yellow.
So,
Peeps, the weird Easter candy. They're
They're
yellow.
not animals, though.
I mean, we can go on.
Do you have any more?
Not really.
Okay, then
All right,
you can carry on.
Tell us about Bear.
So now that they've had the time to actually work on iOS 11, they launched this first update last month, and they had this basic drag and drop support. Like you can drag in text, you can drag out text and images and the basic stuff. But now they have this sort of special feature. They call it the drop bar, which, by the way, there's this meme. I don't know. It's basically like this mythical creature from Australia. It's called the drop bear.
Yeah.
And that would have been just amazing in the app, but they call it the drop bar. Which anyway.
So close.
So here's the thing.
In theory, it's this animal that kind of jumps from trees and kills you.
Yeah.
So
It's
here's
not
the
real,
thing.
though.
I know this is going to play into your thoughts about how I relate to the internet. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh. There was like audible gasps when you said
I know.
that. Use your
Even
super
John
old
knew.
computer to find some stuff out. Go on. Does it even connect to the internet?
I mean, it can.
It
see
has
if it goes.
Wi-Fi
Do you
in
need
it?
a cable for that?
I installed an airport card. It's optional.
Oh my
God.
god. What do you do?
Let's see.
Anyway,
Anyway, while he's over there,
so
we're going to get to this.
So now basically you can pick up notes from Bear, and when you start dragging, you get this little floating menu at the bottom, and you can drop in a note. And when you do so, you get this bunch of special features like
Multiple notes as well. You can
multiple
drop
notes as well. You can do the multi-select with native drag and drop on iOS 11. And you get all these features like you can pin a note to the top of your list. You can
Put them in
copy.
trash,
You can put them in trash.
export them.
You can export in multiple formats. And my point here is that it's fascinating to me that we've seen like multiple waves of drag and drop support. Like as soon as with some exceptions like Castro, for example.
Yeah. Oshin's sitting right there.
Is like 4 feet away.
Stroking his beer right now.
Castro is unbelievable with drag and drop. It's because it's like with Bear. I think everybody assumed drag and drop is purely like take this thing, take it to another place.
Sure.
Like that was how I think it was Apple spent time showing it. But there's so many things you can do inside of your app if you think about it right.
Yeah.
And Bear have done that.
Whether it's like reordering of multiple items in a list,
But
or
that's like an easy one, right? Like the reordering is like an easy one. Like it's an obvious one.
Yeah.
But the idea of like taking a bunch of notes, dropping them to a place and performing bulk actions on them, like that's really cool.
Yeah, and it kind of shows how there can be like multiple levels of updates throughout time as developers familiarize with iOS 11 and all the features. But also, you can now do things like from Safari, you can select text. And that may be rich text with images and headings and links, for example, formatting. And you drop it into Bear, and it converts from HTML and rich text, whatever it's called, to the native Markdown format,
Which is amazing.
which is really nice.
Like I don't know if you Mac users know, but like for us iOS users, stuff like that is really useful because otherwise we'd be sitting there and you just have to reformat it by hand, which typically is how we do things. But now does it automatically.
It
which
feels
is so
strange
cool.
that we're sort of so happy for rich text support.
Well, I mean, but rich text support is so bad. Does that have rich text support, Stephen?
Yes, it does.
Wow. Look at you.
I mean, we're only like 16 years behind. It's fine.
But there is this there is like a meme in. No, it's fine. This is one I'm okay with. In like in the developer community, like when something is announced, it's like we know it's going to be one thing, but when developers have time to live with it, it can be something more, right? Like it's like what happens over time is more interesting than what happens like initially. So it's like the same with like the iPhone 10 is the designs are going to be just like, we need to support this, make sure that we fill the screen up, let's get it out there. But then after a few months, we might, and I believe we'll start to see a lot more tailored design for the notches, the bad man ears.
The bad man.
So, and then that was a slow burn, but they got it. I want to talk about the Watch app for Bear as well, because they have just introduced a Watch app with this new release, which is super simple. You just dictate notes to it. You can create notes and append to notes. And if you have both apps open for a while and let it sync, you can also append to notes that already exist, so it loads them all in. But what notes you can create on the watch, you can then just append to them. Super simple, but it works independently from the iPhone. So with the LTE watch or over Wi-Fi, it works. And this is great because last week I was swimming and I had a great idea, and I was like, I'll open the Apple Notes app on my watch. That doesn't exist, which I thought was an obvious one. That seems like a real obvious one to exist, but it doesn't. But now I can do it with Bear. This is a great app. Like, it's a really nice app.
And it's made in Italy. So.
Oh, no wonder. No wonder. All the great things come from Italy, right?
Nepotism there. It's not nepotism.
No, not really.
Everyone's related.
No.
Patriotism.
Patriotism. Thank you, Ben. They're not related to Federico.
It's a small country, but we're not related.
Do you know that, though? Have you checked?
I mean, I live next door to Arkansas. I can't say anything.
Let's not do that. Last week on the show, you may remember that we had a lengthy discussion about email apps. And at the time...
Everyone was riveted.
Oh, no.
At the time... my two co-hosts were like, I use Apple's mail app, and it's great. And the apps that you use, Mike, are dumb and stupid.
I don't remember this conversation.
That's not how it went.
Federico, how is mail app treating you this week?
Do I need to answer?
You do need to answer.
It's in a folder.
# Mike was right.
No.
Yes.
No.
You're not using it anymore, and I said you shouldn't use it, and you're not. And so I've been traveling with Federico for a few days, and I think he has been using a different email app every day for the last 5 days. And he's been really struggling, and he's super mad at all of them, I think.
Well, here's the problem. The perfect email app for me does not exist.
Yeah, it exists for nobody. You just have to choose the one that you're most comfortable with.
That's the other problem. I'm not comfortable with anything at the moment. Because, I've been using, this bunch of email apps, 4 or 5 of them, maybe. And every one of them has a great feature or a great design detail that I really like, but none of them have the combination of all the aspects that I would like to see.
Yep.
So you see me jump from, again,
Airmail
between
to
Airmail, Spark,
Newton.
Outlook was involved.
Oh, Outlook! I didn't see that one.
Wow.
Because
things got dark.
I was kind of feeling bad about it, so I've been trying email apps where you were not looking.
Yeah.
Because you were judging me at one point, so I was feeling really bad. But yeah. So what I would really like to have is, if I had a few $1 million, right, to spend on an email app, which
how much they cost?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Probably.
They're not free.
We have a bunch of developers.
Can I just write an email app for us?
Okay. So
I would like to state that Relay FM LLC has not entered any contract with Alan or anyone.
So
no
if Relay FM can expense a few $1 million for okay, yeah, try it. Anyway, I would like to have a combination of Apple Mail because it's fast, the interface is simple and fluid. I would also like to have the elegance of Spark, the integrations of Airmail,
and the amazing settings screen.
What about the bugs from Airmail? Do you get those?
Not the bugs from Airmail.
Oh, I had a new one. I was we're in the airport, and I'm trying to convince Federico about Airmail again, and I send an email, and I have 5 email accounts with a unified inbox. For an hour, only one of those accounts was showing in the unified inbox. It didn't matter what I did. A combination of force quitting the app and it just wouldn't. It would just have one email account in the email inbox, and he's looking at me and I'm like, it's fine.
And after all of this, it still convinced me to try Airmail.
Yeah.
And I did install Airmail. So I was writing a really important message to a PR person. And I composed my message. I composed my, they're important. They like the replies. I add my read receipts because it's all business, So I need to know when to read my message.
Special business.
And I'm like, okay, I just need to fix some typos. I try to scroll the message and it doesn't scroll anymore.
Yeah, that was real bad.
And I didn't know how, like, I think I rotated my iPhone like 5 times and eventually I was able to scroll.
See?
But then I
It's
realized, what have you made me do, Mike?
Install a mostly better email app.
Well, okay, so that was also a beta, so it's not completely fair
Yeah,
to the
it's
Airmail
not fair.
guys.
It's not fair.
But I also think that, like, I was trying Airmail and I was like, all these integrations, like I can save tasks to Todoist and I can have all these settings. That's amazing, and I want that. But I also want to have like stable email client that actually makes me scroll my text.
So what if there's would this be a solution that would work? And this is going to sound bananas.
I'm not going to get an iBook G4. So that's not going to happen.
It's not a G4.
If
G4
you
is
say
white.
Newton, if you say Newton,
An actual Newton?
yeah, you're gonna.
I didn't bring any of those.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a serious...
No, seriously.
Okay.
If Apple were to add an actual share sheet in Mail, would that get you what you want? Because you would get the niceties of Mail, and you could send stuff via extensions and not nice integrations like AirMail. But I feel like that would be enough for me at least. What about you?
So I've gotten used to these modern features that some developers do, stuff like read receipts to be able to know when someone reads your message.
Right.
I don't use them always, but I do want them sometimes.
Do you use them with me?
I'm not telling you. Well, if I said no, that would mean that I just don't care if you read my message.
Yeah, it's
So I'm
better
gonna
for you
say
just not
yes.
to know. It's best not to know.
Ignorance is bliss.
I use them for you because you're really important to me.
Thank you.
But there's also these other features, like I want to be able to snooze my messages.
Sure.
And I'm not sure that Apple wants to do all of these modern features because they seem kind of to be against this modernization of Apple Mail. And I just don't see them do features like push notifications, for example. Are they ever going to do push for Gmail accounts?
Yeah, this is the Cold War.
So
right there.
it's not just one feature like I want the share sheet. It's a collection of all these modern takes on email that others are doing, but each one of those companies is doing like one aspect, and I want all of them, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not possible.
You just need to use 4 email apps.
Done.
And then you can
No.
just switch between each one depending on what you need. It'll be easy.
If you
Just
need
copy
to
and paste.
scroll, don't use AirMail.
Yeah, you just if you're halfway through a message and you can't scroll it, you just save the draft, you open Spark.
That's a life hack.
Yeah, and then you can
It's not a life
open the
hack.
draft, and then
It's
you
not
can
a li-
scroll it, and then when you're done
Don't-
scrolling,
don't
you
tell-
go back to AirMail again and put the read receipt on
Don't
and then
tell
send
you
it.
this.
Hashtag
It's
Mike
easy.
was right.
It's easy.
So,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I've been like, and when I'm not sure which apps I want to use, like I have this bug in my brain, and it really stresses me out. Like for real, like I get really upset. It's like when I couldn't decide between Apple Music and Spotify. I get really upset. I realize it's a problem.
Oh, the other thing you were getting really, it was like, oh, the scrolling performance isn't good enough in AirMail. And I'm very upset about this. I cannot use applications where the scrolling isn't smooth. And that was when he deleted it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Slowly, sometimes we just have to slowly walk away from the iMessage.
It was skipping frames as you were scrolling the settings.
Oh.
Well, you're so happy with all those settings, and then when you scroll them, it's like
But you don't need them that much, though.
But it's a sign of if the settings
Scroll
screen
slower.
scrolls slowly, what else could possibly go wrong? Well, you cannot scroll your message.
There's clearly a scrolling. I mean, we should, again, just for the sake of this, we are both using beta software here,
Yeah.
right? Like, it is just worth pointing that out. Like, I don't know what bugs there are in the shipping version, but we are both using beta versions.
Yeah. Also, I love the Airmail guys. They're also Italian, so
Yeah.
nepotism and whatever.
Oh, yeah, so you need to start using that. I think.
So what you need is you need Bear to buy AirMail.
Oh, got it.
And they would make Bear Mail.
Bear Mail. Or Air Bear.
What's not fair is when I make these jokes, when it's just the three of us, everyone just groans at me. But when you make them, there's so many people here to laugh.
Because it's funnier.
I can't help
Thanks so much for listening, everybody.
Is the show over already?
Because then he brought the
So which email
prop
app?
comedy.
You didn't tell me, like, what am I supposed to use?
Airmail.
All right.
It is a bummer. And I agree with you, Federico. Apple seems almost allergic to adding these modern takes. Because, I mean, Mail, I'm not going to bring this machine up anymore after this. But Mail on this machine running 10.2 is basically Mail running on High Sierra.
Oh, God.
Like, there's no, I mean,
right,
name one drastically different feature. Like, they're not.
Part of the problem is a
IMAP
lot of the
support,
stuff.
maybe.
Siri support.
No one needs that.
Yeah, we need that. I think part of the problem is stuff. So a lot of the stuff that you are asking for, I think requires server-side stuff that they're just not going to do.
Right. Because Spark and all these some of these email clients are doing things because they have access to your account in a way that Apple doesn't. But a share sheet doesn't need that. Just put a share sheet in it.
It is really weird that there's no share sheet in Mail. I mean, I don't know this because I honestly have not used Mail in about 3 years because it is junk. But
that's a hot take.
I really don't like it. It's like you got apps like Notes, which are so good.
It's really
and like the Mail app has just doesn't do anything.
It's stagnant.
But it's like even little things that like because I kind of see like if they don't want to do this and stuff and they don't want to do push notification from Gmail, fine. Right. But like smart folders.
Stuff that is already on the Mac.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Not bringing to iOS.
Like I don't understand. It's like, you made the title bigger. Like, yeah.
Well, it's now easier than ever to find your
current inbox.
Mailboxes. It's all about
mailboxes. No one needs that. All right, let's take a break.
Please.
Today's show is also brought to you by Timing, the automatic time tracking app for the Mac. The developer, Daniel, he's here right now, and I'm really uncomfortable about reading this.
Just remember, he signed a contract.
Yeah, but the contract, there's like, this doesn't usually happen, right? Like, when I read Squarespace ads, like, they don't come in the room.
Squarespace is ever present.
No, you please stay, because I want you to know I can do a good job on this. So look, time tracking. Now stick with me here, everyone. Time tracking. I know a lot of people don't like it when I talk about time tracking, but I and Federico, who got me into time tracking, we love it. But the problem is, and this is a problem me and Federico talked about just a couple of days ago, is you have to start and stop the timers. Like with the services that we use, you have to manually go in, start one and stop one. I very frequently wake up with a 16-hour timer that I set when I finished work yesterday, and I sleep in.
You get a lot more sleep than I do.
Well, maybe I finished at 5, and maybe sometimes I have started Monday from a timer on Friday.
I did that this past weekend, actually. I started something like Saturday for like 10 minutes or something, and then Sunday afternoon I opened it. It's like, I have not been working connected for a day and a half. Can't you tell?
How long did it take you to put all of the things in that MacBook, though?
I did have to install
iBook.
It says it right here.
Anyway, again,
so sorry.
So far off track. Like, why are we doing this? Why should you have to do all the work of starting and stopping those timers? The Timing for Mac automatically tracks how much time you spend on every one of your apps. Even documents and websites, which is amazing, which means that you never have to worry about starting or stopping a timer again. And because Timing collects more data than a regular time tracker, it goes far beyond just billable hours, or like these buckets of just like, I'm prepping for Connected. It shows you which app, website, page you're open. And so, like, for example, when I set up time tracking stuff at times, and I would say, I'm doing this show. But when I use Timing on the Mac, it knows I'm in the Connected document because I got the website page open, so it can categorize it for me. It's really, really smart. Timing's timeline automatically makes suggestions for filling gaps in your timeline and can also ask you what you did offline every time you return to your Mac, so you don't just have to be at the Mac for it to be tracking what you're doing. This way you will never forget to enter a meeting again. I love that there are loads of graphs and charts as well that break down not just the apps that I'm using, but also the categories and types of tasks. It can suggest them, and you can customize them as well. And because the people at Timing who love Connected so much because they're sitting in the audience right now, you can download the free 14-day trial when you go to timingapp.com/connected and save 10% when you purchase. Did I do a good job, Daniel? I got a thumbs up. All right, Timing. Stop worrying about time and focus. I get a round of applause! Yeah! Stop worrying about time and focus on doing your best work instead, thanks to Timing for their support of this show. Tim Cook is doing one of his European tours.
That's right.
Why does he do these so much? He loves to go to stuff.
He just likes to go visit people. He's a friendly guy, and he just wants to go
He's always
meet
out
people.
and about. And he's been talking about AR this time.
He has.
Discussion.
So anytime he does one of these tours, a couple years ago, it was about wearables. Before that, he talked to
Federico, what app are you using
Well,
right
I wanted
now?
to try one of the apps that you recommended.
An AR app?
It doesn't work.
What is it?
Are we back on mail?
AR basketball. It's not
You're
email.
playing the basketball? He's playing the basketball game. So you have to
Is it
find a
my phone?
surface. No, you're in like the tutorial mode.
Well, I'm sorry,
Desk
Mr.
size.
ARKit.
Move around to find a surface. Maybe we can find
You
one on the
clearly
table.
spent a lot of time playing AR basketball.
Oh, why is it not working?
Thanks, Tim Cook.
Wait. We can't find a surface. Try another area.
Guys, you remember we're
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, but we were talking about this is the show.
All right, you keep going. You keep going, and I'm going to find a surface
So he's
to
going to play
basketball.
AR kit basketball.
Oh, got it.
This is uncomfortable.
There we go. See? So you shoot at the hoop.
Go.
You realize literally no one can see what you're doing.
Yeah, no, it's not working. I'm too close to the hoop.
They're
All
just
right,
on Reddit.
You
I don't
keep
know what's
going.
going on.
I'm going to go.
They're going to play AR basketball. He's walked away from the stage.
Steven, tell me about Tim Cook.
So Tim Cook is doing all these interviews. He spoke at some sort of startup thing at Oxford. He did this big thing in Vogue. And he's talking about how AR is going to change everyday life. And
All right. Sure.
Thank you.
Keep playing, Mike.
I'm not very good.
So I think we can break these down in a couple of big categories. He's talking a lot about shopping and retail experience and how AR could really change that. He said that AR will be as critical and as common as having a website if you're a retailer, which is an astounding statement.
Very bold.
Astounding statement.
He says a lot of stuff like this, right? Do you remember the wearables thing? Right, like when he was going on the Apple Watch, he was like, everybody, like he really hypes this stuff up.
It's part of the job, right?
I know.
This comes at a time where there have been rumors for some reason that Apple is working on AR glasses, which is like, we've been down this road before. It didn't end well for Google, but, they'll be carved out of a single piece of aluminum, so all of us will love them. So here's a quote. He was asked directly in this Vogue piece about AR glasses. He said, of course, there are rumors and gossip about what companies work on, but obviously we don't talk about what we work on, even though they totally do all the time now. But today, I can tell you that the technology itself doesn't exist to do that in a quality way. I think they're building AR glasses.
Yeah, like that.
Much.
Today in a quality way, right? Like it's.
I mean, right now, if you're deep in an Apple lab, you have a laptop strapped to your face to make this work. But they've no doubt they're. Can you see that? It'd be really good. I would try it with this, but I'd be injured terribly.
Yeah, you'd fall over immediately.
He also said, getting back to the AirPod thing, he was asked, is Siri like combined with AirPods? Is that an AR experience? And he said he doesn't think that it is, and I agree with that because you're just talking to your assistant. That sometimes
that's just a bad question.
Sometimes it works.
That's not AR in any way.
But he said that he does think audio could play an important part in AR in the future, which I find really interesting because right now these experiences are primarily visual. And he was playing a basketball game or doing whatever he was doing.
I was so bad at that game.
It's really bad.
But I try. So in one of these things in Oxford, Tim super pans VR, right? Like he's just like.
And this is on the heels of Oculus had an event last week,
yeah,
and they introduced some products.
He may as well have just said VR sucks. He may as well have just because he was just like, it doesn't work. It's gimmicky. There are like niche uses of it. But one of the great things about VR is pairing it with audio. And like it's a big part of it, right? Like
it
in
is.
the PSVR, they have this whole system for the audio. What is it called? Binaural audio?
I think so.
Where it kind of creates an almost surround sound like experience, but just headphones. So yes, the thing about AR games and apps right now is that they are very much just like look at the phone, and they can be more immersive without having to necessarily strap something to your face.
Sure.
By adding an audio component.
Well, sure, because if you're in that world and then you hear your neighbor shut his car door, then you're taken out of it. But I can see where he's going with it, and again, like this, he has to do a lot of hype because it's part of the job. But I just find it so interesting they're making such a big push on it. Because I really can't think of a time, at least in recent history, where Apple introduced a new, let's call it a technology stack, for lack of a better word. Sorry, developers. That Apple hyped so hard just like based on the technology alone.
Without
like
something
they didn't
that
do
went
this when they added
alongside.
copy and paste iOS. It's
Well, I mean, it's so closely tied to the most important part of the iPhone's hardware, to the camera, that it kind of becomes an extension of the iPhone. At least that's what they hope to do, that AR experiences will become just as important as the iPhone. That's what he's saying. I don't know if it's going to happen now because most of these AR kit games and apps are just gimmicks or little demos,
Sure.
I don't see us using ARKit apps all day long. I mean, Google Docs in AR would be something.
I played PCalc for like 4 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
But the idea is that they're hyping this so much because it's so closely tied to the iPhone, and not just to the iPhone, but to the most important feature of the iPhone.
Yeah, that's a good point. He goes on, he talks, he kind of falls back into the old position that Apple has an extremely strong position because they have hardware and software. And we see Google, they have responded to this with AR Core, that's what they're calling theirs. Yeah. It runs on some phones, it's going to spread as it does on Android. But then he also says that the App Store is super important to this, that Apple is not only providing great hardware and a software development kit, or whatever the kids call it now, to build this stuff, but like the whole end-to-end thing is there. And there's a very obvious parallel in my mind to the App Store in the beginning, that the App Store was the first successful version of this idea because Apple had all the pieces in place.
Yeah.
And I don't think AR is going to be as big as the App Store, but it is sort of intriguing to think about that they have all these pieces lined up and that the hardware is better than ever, and they have this great software that some people are doing amazing things with very quickly. And I agree. I think like drag and drop, we're going to see this evolve. That the stuff we see now is going to be just blown away in 6 months, and then 6 months after that, and 6 months after that. But Apple's clearly very excited about it, and I think that's worth paying attention to.
I mean, it's so obviously the beginning of this sort of feature or ecosystem of apps. And I was talking to a couple of developers who are doing ARKit apps now. And the problems that they mentioned, like they were common to all of the developers that I talked to, stuff like you cannot detect vertical surfaces. You can only detect horizontal ones, unless you want to write your own algorithm and engine, which is complicated. Or
But some people have.
Some people have, like
Yep.
MeasureKit, for example, which is the measuring app. They do some custom stuff to detect vertical surfaces and basically walls. The performance when it comes to low light performance, in a really dark room, for example, it's not good. Or if you want to, there's some obstruction, for example. There's some object standing in the way that also causes problems. So it's obviously the beginning for this framework. And I'm not surprised if you consider all these potential issues right now that Apple is not doing their own app, like an official navigation mode in AR in Maps, for example, because there are so many things to fix first. And so it's intelligent, I think, to go to the developers and say, why don't you make some apps and give us some feedback so we can make it better next year, for example.
Whilst at the same time, they're getting good at making infrared cameras.
Yeah.
Right. So I wonder, because I mean, the iPhone 10, I assume, can probably have some more interesting things that it can do.
Yeah, like the face tracking stuff, for example, like the filters that sort of use ARKit to superimpose graphics on your face.
Yeah, because the ones that they showed on stage with what Snapchat had done were vastly more. I mean, their stuff is very good. Yeah. Very good. I mean, and I think that Snapchat have their own baked-in version of AR as well that they use, which isn't as good as the AR kit stuff, but it's good. But the face detection stuff was vastly superior to what they're doing.
I do have a lot of questions about Craig Federico using Snapchat.
What kind of questions?
Like a lot. Well, I don't understand Snapchat, and he's older than I am.
Mike uses Snapchat all the time now.
But y'all are the same age.
I never send anything to anyone. I just like to play
not
with.
day one. Did you get him confused?
He's really into the Bitmoji.
Bitmoji.
No. Oh God.
Yeah, this is great. So I downloaded Bitmoji to create, just because I don't know if you know this, you create a character of yourself and you have the ability to just have hundreds of stickers that have a little character of yourself in them. Steven hates them for a reason I can't understand. Like, really hates them. So today Federico signed up for Bitmoji too. So now we send him the same stickers, but just with our faces in each of them.
I think I'm going to do an Apple show with Jason from now on.
That's mine. AR. So I think part of the problem is I struggle to think about what really is going to happen here. Mm-hmm. Right? Like he says, like, oh, fashion, that's another good one. But what else? Like, it has to be things that are visual. Otherwise, you're just taking non-visual things and putting them into AR. Right? So, like, the idea of, like, and Microsoft showed a bunch of this stuff. And what Microsoft's doing with HoloLens is referred to as MR, which is mixed reality, because it's kind of because you put a headset on and you can see things in the world. So it's like a combo between VR and AR. And all they're showing is like, oh, here's Edge, just Microsoft's browser on the wall.
Everybody wants it.
It's like this stuff is there's no real use for that, right? And this is my concern with AR is like, are we just going to end up with like our Notes app on the floor? Like, what is
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, but like, what is the use of that?
Mail in the bathroom?
I mean, you could do that anyway, though, if you want to. Like, you don't have to be able to see it.
Would airmail have trouble sticking to the wall? And so that was mean. I'm sorry.
Airmail is a great app that you should all use.
So two things come to mind for me, and then I have a problem with the whole thing. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right.
I think of, and they're sort of related, but like sort of job or career training, right? So you start a job, you're making burritos, or you're making cars, or you're whatever.
Burritos or
I don't know. I don't have
This is a very broad range of jobs.
I don't have a job. I don't know.
People
All
either
right.
make burritos or cars.
If you have a career that you're using your hands and you want to have training, or a lot of jobs you have to have certifications, and having that sort of on the job training where I can hold an iPad up or a phone up in front of the thing I'm supposed to do, and it teach me about that thing, I think is incredibly powerful.
All of those things are better when you've got something strapped to your face, though.
And see, well, that's the big problem I have. We can get to that.
Yeah.
The other thing I see, and it is related, is like K through 12 education. So we've played with a few ARKit apps at home. One of them, I forget the name, so forgive me. But
Okay.
Thank you.
You're-
It helps you locate. We talked about it on the show even locate stars and stuff in the sky at night.
Star Walk.
Yes, I think. And so there's a big park out by our house, and so you can see the sky really well. And so we've taken the kids out, and we've gone through this thing, and I've done it, and it's really great. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. But again, to your point that you stole from me, it's not in the notes, is that ARKit is limited until they make glasses through the window frame of your iPad. And unless you have the giant one, it's a 10.5 inch window. And I just wonder if that fundamentally limits what this sort of stuff would do. Yes, it's great that I could walk into a store and I have my phone out and I can see prices, or I could see, fitting information if it's fashion or whatever. But at some point, if you want to get out into the real world, like big things, is it limited to look through the camera of your iOS device?
Yeah. It's a problem because there has to be one before the other, right? So like they can't put the cart before the horse. And I think for us to be able to buy into the idea of wearing Apple AR glasses, we need to already understand why AR is important. Because one of the reasons that the Google Glass project failed, I think, is that there wasn't really a lot of understanding of the use cases. Yeah. And I think like if Apple introduced AR glasses right now, it would be the exact same thing. Because I just don't think that we fully understand what these things can be used for. But at the same problem, there is a limitation in that you have to have the apps open to use them and hold your phone in front of them. Like, so it's like there is this issue of we need better use cases, but the current method is not ideal. It's not simple.
So what I wonder is exactly this. When Tim Cook says, we believe AR is the future. But that future right now is you need to open a bunch of apps to do different tasks. Like you want to play a game, you want to place some furniture in your bedroom or whatever. And I think when he says the future, he maybe implies that you just open the camera on your iPhone and it knows what you want to do. So it highly depends on context. So if I'm looking at you with my camera, I probably suggest where you like an online store where I could buy this jacket, or of course take a picture. But the friction that we have right now of I want to try AR, so I need to download a bunch of games and a bunch of apps, and I need to launch them and do the calibration. It would be so much easier if it's constantly on. And I don't know if that means like extensions for the camera or some baked-in mode that can recommend some defaults like navigation, for example, or recognizing, we got the barcodes now in the camera. You can recognize QR codes with the Apple camera. So it's not impossible to imagine that kind of feature where it's the system camera on your iPhone that knows what you want to do, or that at least makes it easy for you to do different tasks instead of let me jump between 10 different apps so I can place a basketball and throw up,
Do you think this is similar to Google Lens?
Yeah.
So my concern is if that's the route, right? Like if the end goal of this is you open the camera app and our cameras are smart.
Siri's got that.
Yeah.
It's the Siri camera.
Because like Google are introducing Google Lens with the Pixel 2, but it's super limited.
Yeah.
Like
that's why it's the future.
But that's what concerns me though, right? Like Google have done this and they are really held back right now. And this is Google with all of the information that they have that Apple doesn't get access to.
And that's why right now we can play basketball and place a desk in our bedroom and do that kind of look at the stars.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. But I guess it's like a lot of my concern with a lot of things that Apple are doing now is that I worry that they are held back by a lot of their core guiding principles, which are great for so many things. But the lack of data that they have, I think can be troubling. And this could be one of those because I think we can all agree that we struggle sometimes with object detection and stuff like that in photos, right? Like that Google Photos tends to be better at finding what you're looking for. If I'm pointing my phone at a thing in real time and I need it to identify what that thing is, I trust Google will be able to do that.
I worry that they're hyping this so much before they have an actual timeline of we'll be able to reach our vision within 5 years.
I mean, we still haven't gotten the car, the ultimate mobile device. That hype was years ago.
That is a mobile device, though.
That's what they said. That's what Jeff Williams said.
It's the
Yeah, that was an actual quote.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is a joke, but not my joke.
It's a terrible joke.
So I got one more Tim Cook quote before we move on.
All right.
Okay.
And he said this in passing, so I don't want to read too much into it, but we're a podcast, so we're going to read too much into it.
Yeah.
He said a comment a couple times that we tend to use our devices too much. Johnny Ive said a similar thing. He was interviewed last week at some fancy design place, and he said, that the near constant use of iOS devices, we'll say the iPhone, troubled him. And I think there was a connotation because it was in like the VR burn section that VR actually like makes it more limiting because instead of just looking down at our phone, we're looking at some wraparound head screen thing all the time. And I'm curious to see what you guys think. Does AR have the ability, or does it have the capacity to help us connect with each other in new and meaningful ways? Right now, we're measuring the size of our TV and putting furniture in our offices.
Beyond an emoji.
Beyond an
Excited
emoji.
for an emoji.
Yeah, I know.
You're warming me up with Bitmoji to get to this.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be just a
You're
nightmare
gonna
for you.
jump from the Mike Bitmoji to the Mike poop emoji.
Oh, I'm never gonna use that one. I don't.
You sure?
I'm probably
be a good look
going
on
with
you.
unicorn. I'm gonna ignore that comment. Like, I honestly think that for a while, all of my messages will just be Animoji movies. Like, that's it. It's just all it's gonna be. All right. So to your point, to your serious question.
Yes.
No. I don't think
I don't buy it either.
I don't think that AR is better. Like, just because I'm doing something different with the phone doesn't mean that it's better than checking my messages.
But can we come up with a scenario in which AR creates an experience that connects you and I as humans that we wouldn't have otherwise?
Well,
Maybe I just don't have an imagine.
I'm putting Steven on my desk and I'm talking to you on a little character jumping around.
I would love that, though.
Like in Star Wars, the little holograms.
What's the problem that we're spending too much time on our phone sending messages? We're still sending messages to each other. It's kind of amazing that we can be always in touch. Like, I don't see this.
But we're in touch. But the person sitting next to me, I'm not talking
but that's
to.
just
that's
common
the
sense.
problem
Like,
they're
if
getting
I'm
to.
spending time with my girlfriend, I'm not gonna send messages to Mike. No offense, but like, if I'm spending quality time with my partner, I have like a brain that tells me, look, maybe put the phone away.
I think the point though is that it is becoming increasingly worse for more people. Like, phone addiction is a real thing.
Sure.
Right? Like, it is. Like I did a thing this week. I've done this a few times. I just moved Twitter away from its usual point on my home screen. And I just kept opening the other app. Right? So, like, I moved
Your
Twitter.
thumb knows what to do.
Yeah, I moved Twitter and I put email there. just like to see
Which
what I
email
do.
client?
Airmail, the best
God.
email client. And I realized that I just would open my phone and I just kept opening Airmail and I'll close it because I don't want Airmail, and then 20 seconds later Airmail's back again. Right? If you've never tried this, by the way, just try it.
No, I get it.
Just
Or-
swap something else.
Really, Greg's here.
Yeah, which I have used.
Use
I took-
Tally.
Tally is a great
And
app.
you'll
I
see-
took a month away from Twitter a while ago. We were talking about this. And I replaced it with Greg from Agile Tortoise's app, Tally. So I could then, every time I opened it, just go one more to see just how many times I'd done this. It was interesting that over the weeks that went on, I did it less and less. But I think that it is a thing that plagues many of us. But if we're going to, let's just say for a moment from earlier in the discussion, we're just going to play out the idea that they're making AR glasses.
Sure.
So much worse.
Because it's all, yeah.
Because
So
then
much worse.
Oh yes, we're looking at each other, but we're also checking
Through
Twitter.
a computer that Apple makes, right? Like it's way worse.
Like, so how does AR improve the fact that we're looking at our phones all the time and we have phone addiction?
Well, that's the question.
It's like giving us more reasons to look at our phones. Like I don't like this line of thinking because it's clearly something that either they are talking about or being told to talk about. The fact that both Johnny and Tim are both mentioning
it
this
came up in a
line
meeting.
of like people are using their phones too much. Like it's
But
fine, but you still make them.
Wasn't this the exact same argument when the Apple Watch came out that now you don't have to look at your phone all the time.
It was.
Look at our other
you can-
device
And
instead.
now, 4 years later, we got cellular, so now people can always send you messages.
Well,
you
and
can always
the
reply.
thing about that, I've noticed it because my partner doesn't wear an Apple Watch. I've got friends who do, but I'm basically at home all the time. But when I'm with the two of you, I notice both of you do it. Your watch will go off, you look what it is, you put your wrist down to pick your phone up. It's like a two-part movement.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure I do it too. I'm sure we all do it. And so, yeah, the Apple Watch hasn't lived up to the promise that's going to break the chain of addiction to my phone. But I just don't buy the line of thinking that AirKit is somehow going to make that easier. I think, to your point, Mike, it may make it more difficult or somehow like more confusing to people.
Especially if you have glasses, that would actually blur the lines of, are you actually looking at me or are you looking at...
This was the Google Glass problem,
Yeah.
right? And I don't
Well,
know
that
how
and
you
Robert
overcome
Scoble
that.
in the shower.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that
a whole separate.
That was,
Yeah, I don't know. I like AR kit games. That's kind of all I've used it for. They're fun. I don't play them every day, but like they're a fun little thing to do. Like I can put a T-Rex in the living room, take a picture of it. Like it's really funny. And I like that sort of stuff. I'm interested to see more. I'm getting less and less convinced at, here we go, Apple's ability to just change the world again. Like they think they're just going to keep doing that. Like, because they've done it a bunch of times, like legit. But like the Apple Watch, it's going to change the world. Nah, it's not going to. Like AR, it's going to, I think they are chasing it, as all technology companies should be. But like they chase it at a level of, but we did this before. So like, we got this. And I'm just a bit like, just rein it in a little bit more, I think.
It's this idea of this is the future. Like,
It's just like, calm down. Like, it's cool, right? Like, it's been like a couple of months.
Well, I mean, they can't come out and say, we got this new thing.
Yeah.
Meh.
but you can say, like, it's really amazing. We're so excited to see what people... But, like, to say this is the future
Yeah.
is really bold.
I get you there. And I think we see more of that out of Apple now than we used to. And maybe it's Tim Cook's leadership. Maybe it's that they have this history now of Mac, iPod, iPhone, iPad that they feel like they've got to. And the world has pressed on them that they have to do it again.
And also, it's not Steve. Right? Like, I think that is a part of it. I mean, if I was Tim Cook, I would feel that way. Like, that I feel like I have to do this. Right? Like, I have to do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to discount the success of the watch. The watch is very clearly Tim Cook's product. And I think the watch we have today...
It's really, really, really great.
It's really good, minus the stupid red dot. And I think it is more of a picture of what Tim Cook had thought, or like they had seen, right? Like really good at fitness stuff, and they've honed that messaging. And maybe ARKit will do the same thing, where right now it's going to change the future, and it's going to be in retail, it's going to be in the classroom. And maybe once it's in the world for a little while, they say, hey, you know what? we have an amazing game platform. And you know what? That's enough.
That is more than
enough. If iOS continues to be a great gaming platform and that they can extend it to the Apple TV, and who knows what they could do. But if it was just gaming, I think that's enough. And so maybe they change their tone over time like they have with the watch.
Yeah, because I just think they need to just chill out just a little bit.
Just take a breather.
And I'd be happy with that. Like, these products are really great. Like, just give it some time. Like, the iPhone's still doing really good. Like, we're okay.
Yeah.
All right. Final sponsor today is Incapsula. They will help you delight the visitors that come to your website whilst also frustrating attackers, all because of their bulletproof security options and fast content delivery network. Some seriously big Fortune 500 companies trust Incapsula every day because they will take care of stuff for you. You don't have to worry about DDoS attacks because they've got it covered. It's not just corporate giants, though over 100,000 organizations love and use Incapsula every single day because they will protect you. Not only will they block your site from bad guys, they will also keep the user experience fast and smooth so your visitors can enjoy your content undisturbed. They also have 24/7 customer support. You'll get the best service level agreement in the business with personal account management as well. As a listener of this show, you can get 1 whole month of service for free. Just go to incapsula.com/connected. That's incapsula.com/connected. Check it out now, and you'll find out more about what Incapsula does and how you can claim your free month as well just by going there. Give it a try. You won't regret it. Thank you so much to Incapsula for their support of this show and Relay FM.
So we haven't talked about purchases in a while.
Oh, no.
And it is that time. And as you could tell from Federico's moaning,
he's been doing it.
Federico's been buying some things. So Federico, why don't you tell us what you've done?
Do I have to?
Yes.
So I've been buying iPad keyboards for a few months now because I can never find the iPad Pro keyboard that I like. And just a few weeks ago, I was actually reading through Apple's website and I realized that the Logitech Slim Combo, which is the keyboard that we really didn't like when the iPad Pro 10.5 came out.
Yeah, the one that like just it had no stability.
We
like
really
it's just
didn't
bad.
like it.
Yeah.
Like we actually went. You on Twitter were recommending against buying
like
the
seriously,
keyboard.
like I think
and
is a bad
Logitech
product.
replied to you on Twitter.
And they told me that the Slim Combo it was built to be rugged, which doesn't make any sense. Like, that is not what that means. Like, it's slim. It's meant to be like, anyway, like, because I was complaining about the thickness and weightness, and I said it's built to be rugged and protect.
But it's called Slim, yeah. Anyway, they have a different version for the 12.9, which I had no idea it existed. So I bought this keyboard, which is right here.
Do you want to pass it around, everybody?
I mean, sure.
Show and tell.
I mean, if you really want to
Don't do that. Don't do
bad
that. It's
idea.
fine. You need it.
I really like it. It's not perfect, but it's sort of the combination of things that I want in an iPad keyboard.
So when the first round of iPad Pros came out, it was universally believed that the Create for the 12.9 was a disaster.
Yeah.
But the Create for the 9.7 was amazing. They flipped that because this is really good on this device. And I think there's a couple of reasons for it. So a couple of the issues, I had 2 major issues with this keyboard for the 10.5. One was when you put it on your lap, it's not stable. So the previous version, it had like a cloth covering that went from the iPad round to the keyboard, so it would stay nice and stable on your lap because there was one flat piece of material there. With this product, there's a kickstand, so you kind of have to have stable places to keep the kickstand, and also the keyboard is attached via this like material, which was super thin. So you'd be typing, and the thing would be wobbling, and then you'd want to wrap the keyboard round to the back to hold it, and the keyboard would just pop off. Now, the keyboard still pops off on this one, but I find, at least myself, I don't hold the 12.9-inch iPad very often to just read with it because it's like reading a dinner tray, right? So like when I'm reading with that, I still keep it in like the keyboard orientation for me. So like that isn't so much of a problem. And because everything's bigger, the ability for stability is increased because there's more surface area for it to lean against.
Right. And on the small version, because it's so small, right? The cover part of the keyboard cannot fold under the keyboard, but actually on this one, you get the cover that, as a normal
so
cover, and then
if
it
you
kind of
imagine
folds under
the
the
cover
keyboard.
that goes over the screen, it folds in half and back around underneath the keyboard, which then elevates the keyboard at a nice angle as well. It's
And it
really nice.
uses the smart connector, so you can have backlick keys, which I was really missing from the Apple Magic Keyboard, which is the one that I was using before.
And no battery to worry about.
You got no battery to worry about,
No
no
Bluetooth
connections. And you get the function rows, so you can have like spotlight shortcuts, which by the way with iOS 11 is really handy because now accessing spotlight is kind of harder than before. You can also do like the home button. You can.
Yep.
This is a real actual life hack. If you press and hold the home button on this one, and if you activate Type to Siri in the iOS 11 settings, you can press and hold and then just type in to issue commands to Siri.
That's pretty good.
So your hands never leave the keyboard, and you can still do stuff with Siri. And also,
nice.
additional life hack.
Thank you. Let's do tiers of life hacks.
Just grows exponentially.
Uh-huh.
If you also you can create text replacements in the iOS settings. If maybe eventually they will sync across your devices. But if you basically can create templates for Siri. Like if you create a shortcut for turn off the bedroom lights. Then you just type, I don't know, TTB.
That's good.
And it's going to explain and turn
you
off your
just some
bedroom.
minds in the audience. Or
There
just
you
like
go.
weather, right? You could just type, very
Yeah,
nice.
whatever you want.
Very nice. Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
It's very smart. Teach you tip.
That's good.
Did you tip live?
So you're keeping this?
Well, I bought it. And
It doesn't mean you can't return it, or
No,
I return
I
mine.
don't like returning things. It's always so awkward. Like
No, it's
like you go back to the store.
do you buy things
and
in
the
person?
Yeah.
Why?
And the employee is like, "What? You didn't like it?" So, like,
I would
it's-
like to give you a mic tip.
Amazon.com.
You stole it right from under
well,
me.
see, Amazon.com would be a solution if my delivering packages situations in Italy.
No,
were
you have a
equal.
guy in a bakery. We went over this on
Yeah,
the
the
show.
Okay, we
bakery
need to
guy.
offer some context here. So, for some reason in Rome, delivery companies are terrible.
They're bad everywhere.
They're bad everywhere, but there's an especially problematic situation for me that my building, I don't know why, but delivery companies don't like to leave packages there. It's kind of cursed. So I set up a system years ago where I befriended the local bakery shop. And with a bunch of excuses, I started going there every day, even to just buy like
The
one.
excuse can be, I would like some bread, please.
No, well, I don't want to eat bread every single
Hang
day
on.
because
Okay.
it's
Hang on. Does this bakery participate in the Google Home versus donut bake-off?
Wait, what?
Never mind. He's forgotten about that already.
One paying attention?
No, it's
No.
fine.
Anyway, I befriended this family-owned bakery, and over time we became friends. And one day I was just like, "Hey, by
Why
the
did
way,"
you feel the need to say family owned?
because it's a
Although
whole
I believe-
enterprise. It's like there's the kid and there's the husband.
Have you seen Master of None? Is it like that?
No, I'm behind actually.
it's like,
man.
so I bet
But
it's
it's
like
a very,
that.
It is
it's a
definitely like
very
that.
stereotypical.
Everyone's nodding. They know it's
Italian
like
bakery.
that. Is there like a
Okay?
little child and he brings you bread?
Yes, actually,
oh
yes.
my god!
The child.
Does he call
So-
you Mr. Fetici?
And there's a dog which is super unhealthy for that type of stuff. This dog just walking around.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, so one day I was like, "Hey, by the way, if I have a problem with the package and UPS, is there a chance you can hold the package for me?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So
And we need to be clear. You befriended these people so you could ask that question.
yes,
It didn't come up
Yes.
naturally over time.
How long?
Yes.
How
How
long?
long?
took 2-3 months.
That's a long con.
That's pretty good.
Do you still
hold
go
on.
every day?
Okay, hold on.
Why don't you buy a P.O. box?
It's a long story. So I started like one day the UPS guy comes over and gives me a package, and I just say, "Hey, if I'm not at home, there's the bakery. It's like 1 minute away. They know me, so if I'm not at home, you can just leave a package there." And I started telling this to all the delivery guys. And now what they do is whenever I'm not at home, they send me a text message. And they're like, "Hey, I left the package at the bakery."
Why don't you just get things delivered directly
hold
to the
on.
bakery?
So the problem here is
Okay.
that I feel like the bakery doesn't like this anymore
How many packages?
because in all of these, I started buying a lot of Amiibo. So this summer, I had the great idea of completing the Zelda collection, which is like
This is a lot. There is like a lot of them.
there's a lot of baggage here. It's like 30 figurines from Amazon. And so, like, we're talking July and August here. And so, within the span of like 3 weeks, these people had like 20 packages.
Every day.
Basically.
Every day they get.
So
man.
and we're now at the point
Where
where...
are you, though? Like,
I
every
feel-
day?
oh,
Where
no,
are you all
I
day?
feel so bad. Like, I'm around
Okay.
doing things. And we're now at the point where if I actually need to buy bread and I walk into the store, the guy looks at me and is like, hey, there's no package today for you. And I can tell that they're kind of upset.
You flew.
Yeah.
You flew too close to the sun with this
Yeah,
bagel.
you did. You pushed it way too far.
I know.
When did you complete this arrangement? Like, when did it begin?
It was all earlier this year. I think.
Can
Oh, it's too
can it
soon.
last until the iPhone 10 ships in March? Can
Well-
you make it? It's done.
March.
It will be.
It's time you get it.
Yeah.
I'm really sad because, like, I can tell that especially after the last batch of Amiibo, the situation really changed.
Yeah, we all
I
found
would
that to be the
say
case.
you could bring them something like a cake, but they won't appreciate it.
yeah,
No.
just flour and stuff.
I
like-
don't know. And I'm so sad because in June I was talking to you and Grace about this life hack that I had. It was a great idea at the time, but Amazon and Amiibo was.
What about
possible.
Butcher?
Yeah, is there someone else in the neighborhood?
So there's the
Candlestick maker?
there's the pharmacy,
Uh-huh.
which I'm not sure I want to go to.
How many
Like,
pills
what
do
are
you
you
need?
supposed to buy at the pharmacy?
Pills.
Every day?
I mean-
Sure.
Like, so I want to have a backup option. Or either I apologize profusely to the bakery family.
Yeah.
Do you ever, like, give them any money or anything?
No.
Maybe you should give them some money.
Like a slip in a 20?
Yeah,
Or-
just like,
This is-
thanks for the bread.
Hang on, I've solved your problem. Because this is what I do for people. You have a bunch of iPad keyboards you can't return. Let's give them those.
No, maybe. Yeah.
Anyway,
Just trying to help.
Anyway,
so that's why you don't buy things
that's
on
why
Amazon.
that's why I don't buy things from Amazon because I need to go to the store, and if I buy the keyboard and I go back 2 days later, the guy looks at me. It's like, hey, you didn't like
He
it.
didn't make it himself.
I know, but it's like, yeah, it's very. You didn't like the keyboard? It's like, no.
What's
I know,
wrong with that,
I feel bad about. I feel so bad about it.
Wow.
He doesn't. I will tell you right now. I just want to tell you. I did this for 3 years. I worked on a customer service desk at a supermarket. I didn't care. It's actually my job. My job only exists if people bring things to return. If everyone's like you, I had no job. Guy doesn't care.
You know what I do with my old stuff? I give it to my mom.
What's she gonna do?
She has
has a
15
bunch of
iPad
keyboards
keyboards.
now.
What's she gonna do with that? What's she gonna do with that?
Well,
I tell you what you should do. You give her the keyboard and the receipt and say, "Mom, if you take this to the store, some money for you."
That's
I
brilliant.
could do that.
That's what
Brilliant.
you
She
do.
has a bunch of stuff.
You just give it. She
Like
can set up an eBay
headphones,
store. You know how to do
like,
eBay.
Like one time I was reading through Marco Arman's headphone review.
You
Oh,
bought a
no.
lot of
I
headphones.
should try some here.
You bought a lot. See, headphones she can use, but iPad keyboards, does she even have an iPad?
She has an iPad, but here's the problem also. She has an iPad 1.
Oh, what are you doing?
Federico.
And I told her,
How
like,
many
Mom,
iPads must you have? Because you don't return anything. That
and
means you don't
and
sell
I
them.
told her, Mom, I have a few iPads for you.
Just a few.
She can have one of mine. I got a ton of them.
And she was like, no, I really like this one because I don't know, some excuse that she gave me.
You could replace it, and she probably wouldn't know. Like if you went to
You
like
know
an
what?
iPad 3.
I remember she really likes the original iPad dock with the keyboard. They're not making that anymore.
Well, you gave her a bunch
You know,
of
the
keyboards.
vertical one.
Has she tried
She's still
all of
using
these?
Facebook for iOS 5. Something like that.
Wow, I want to have your mom on this show.
Me too.
Can she speak
she,
English?
She doesn't speak English.
Oh, that's a shame. I'll learn Italian.
Get her the Google Translate
she
app.
calls podcasts the radio.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sums it up.
Do you know what
She know- you know what-
my
you know what she
nan
does?
calls Ingenious WikiLeaks?
We could,
This is what she thinks it is.
you know what she does? She calls me multiple times a day.
I
You
know.
this.
I know. Oh, Federico
And-
checks in a lot.
So
This is a lovely little Italian
in
boy.
the summer when I'm busy writing the iOS review, she calls me and I'm kind of annoyed. I'm like, Mom, I'm busy. I'm writing. She's like, what are you writing? I was like, in September there's a big story that comes out. Oh yeah, the September thing. So she doesn't know. She doesn't speak. She doesn't read English. But what she does is she's very sweet. On the work issued computer at work, she opens Google Translator and she runs Mac Stories articles through Google Translate.
That's
and she
great.
pretends that she understands.
That's
but
awesome.
it's like, it's terrible.
Frederick Tendril.
It's my name is translated
Frederick Tendril. That's
Tendrils.
what Frederick Tendrils is what Google Translate thinks Federico Vitici
And
is. It is amazing.
So this year I was really curious. I was really curious to know. And she knows all the other. She knows all the other team members. She knows. Oh, John. She's like, yeah,
Aw.
Mom, you know John. No,
Your mom is the
Does
best.
she know who we are?
No. But so I wanted to know. I asked her, did you like the iOS 11 review? And she tells me, well, I know that you really care about the iPad. So I used the navigation. So this is really advanced. I used the navigation menu to open the iPad chapter. I'm like, okay, that's impressive.
That's great.
And then she told me, but I was surprised because you were constantly talking about bees. And then I said, what? And then I realized that the word API in Italian. So
The
yeah,
developers, they use the bees.
They use the
Everybody
bees.
loves the bees. Oh, that's incredible. Thank you so much for coming out to see us today. If you want to find our show notes, go to relay.fm/connected/164. Thanks again to our sponsors, the fine folk over at Squarespace Timing and Encapsula. Federico is online. He is at Vitici, Viticci, and he's at macstories.net. Stephen is at ISMH. He is at 512pixels.net, and go to 512pixels on YouTube and you'll find stuff about computers like the one he has with him today. I am at iMyke, IMYKE. We'll be back next time. Thank you so much for listening. Until then, say goodbye, guys.
Arrivederci.
Adios.